Hi, Mark Garcia here, crushingthecreditbureaus.com and ImproveMyCreditScoresWorkshop.com. In this next segment, I want to talk about how you create and acquire corporate or business lines of credit with major banks and retailers. Now again, at the time of this taping, we're mid-2008. The whole mortgage industry is in a tailspin, but there's still money out there, guys. You realize the banks make money by lending money, so they're not going to stop lending money. Their criteria may have changed now, and you have to have even higher credit scores if you're trying to get personal lines of credit or personal accounts, even more so for businesses, however. Now I know, because again, I've researched a lot of this when I was building up my corporate credit. There's a ton of information out there on the internet on how you get it, and guys, I would just say be very cautious. When you read about a service or a company that wants to take a certain amount of dollars from you to help create business lines of credit in your name or in the company's name, be very cautious of that. Those laws and those rules have changed quite a bit. You can acquire all the business credit you need. You're learning how to increase your personal credit scores. And by the way, that's going to be the biggest factor in what these banks and retailers are looking at. Regardless of how old your corporation is, some of them may or may not want a D&B report, or they're going to want to check your scores from D&B. Most of the banks don't. The Home Depots, the Lowe's, the Dell, they will look at a D&B, but most of your major banks could give us, they really just don't care about your D&B score. It's important, don't get me wrong, but I just don't want any of my students, my clients, my customers going out there spending ridiculous amounts of money trying to get personal and business lines of credit. Let me just make it very clear. If you're going after any kind of business credit and your corporation is probably 5 years or younger, they're going to look at your personal scores regardless. And if anybody tells you different, run. Because that's just not the case anymore. I don't care what your business is, how much you're bringing in. They're going to want to look at personal scores, especially now in this current environment we're in. As that changes, we'll keep you posted. We always have information up on the website about updates of what's changing in the marketplace right now. I'm going to speak to both the individuals who are just starting their corporations or just trying to go after corporate lines of credit, and then I also have some pieces that I'll talk about with folks who already have existing either credit or corporations that have some credit. For those of you just starting out, let's say whether that's my real estate investor students or even small entrepreneurs who are trying to get access to capital for their business, the way you go about getting credit in the name of your business is very similar to how you would do it in your personal name. You're going to fill out the application, you're going to be talking to an individual at a bank, they're going to want to see some information on your company. If it's under 2 years old, they may or may not look at any of your tax returns, but by far they're going to want to see your personal or one of the principal's credit scores before they loan any money. Now in the beginning, it's one of those beggars can't be choosers. When you're going out, you want to go to the Home Depots, you want to go to the Dell, the Office Max, the Office Depots of the world, maybe even some of the cell phone companies, and start establishing accounts in the business name. Now, I would always caution you, because we always mention how inquiries are very negative to your FICO credit score. Always ask them, hey, are you going to pull my credit for this account? And the reason I say that, if you're just starting out your business and you're going to go apply for all these accounts, try and do it in a 14-day window. The reason being, and this is supposed to be changing, it hasn't changed yet, but the reason the FICO scoring algorithm doesn't impact you as negatively if you do those inquiries in a 14-day period. Now that works for both traditional home loans as well as in business loans, because they show it as though you're rate shopping. Now if you are worried about it, do no more than 2 a month. 2 inquiries if you have a high credit score typically won't hurt you as much. It's still going to ding you, but if you have a high score in the high 600s, low 700s, you're going to get hit for about 3 points every time you do an inquiry. So just be cautious in doing too many of them at once if you have lower scores. So anyways, you're going to want to start building up those, by the way, if you've just incorporated yourself through your state, you're going to start getting those solicitations in the mail anyways. Now a lot of those accounts may or may not be very high, and that's okay. You're just starting out. Think of your corporation as kind of like a new baby that's getting credit. They're not going to loan you 5, 10, 15 grand at Home Depot without any previous history. Now what's good though is, and as we've talked about in the other segments, as you're showing on-time payment, on-time performance, you're keeping your limits low, you're using the cards, paying them off as you should be, you'll start getting those higher limits and they'll start getting you those increases whether you ask for them or whether that they give them to you yourself. Okay, so you're going to go through with that first few months getting those in your name. I will say typically though, banks are going to be your easiest ones. I know that sounds strange now in mid-2008, but banks are going to be the ones where you're going to get some of the easiest lines of credit. Based on just your credit scores alone, and again, different banks in your region may vary, but typically you can get $25,000 to $50,000 lines of credit on your FICO scores alone. If you've got great FICO scores, $50,000. If you've got not so good FICO scores, no bankruptcies, no foreclosures, in your past, they'll probably give you 20, 25. And that pretty much they'll do without having to see any tax returns of yours or the business. So something to think about there. Again, for our real estate investors, what would that do to your business if you had access to $50,000 from Bank of America? That would certainly help you with your earnest money deposits, with any closing costs, perhaps any rehabs. As you start building up these lines of credit with the Home Depots and Lowe's of the world, you're able to manage your smaller construction projects easier by telling your contractor, hey, I'll buy the materials, you give me a list of what you need. Helps you with accounting purposes. Now there also are a few other accounts, and I'll list some of the links here at the end of this segment, where you can get lines of credit in the name of your business. They're going to be fairly large amounts of money, and that may or may not be materials that you're going to use, but again, we're trying to help build an overall picture of a corporate credit account. Okay, now we'll list some of these in here. Again, mid-2008, some of these companies may have changed their lending requirements or their credit guidelines. As always, we'll keep you up to date at crushingthecreditbureaus.com. But I'm going to list a few of those where, for again, small businesses, they're great to go get lines of credit. Typically, they won't even do an inquiry. FedEx, Kinko's, there's a couple other businesses as well. Again, you want to start building up a good file for your company that shows that you're a real business, you know, whether you're operating this out of your home or not, but on paper you want to show that you actually are starting to do something. Heck, for those of you that take merchant account or have a merchant account and take money online, I know I have a lot of internet marketers that are part of some of our consulting and workshop groups. This is a great way for you to get access to capital for some of your advertising that you're doing online, for equipment, for hiring outside consultants. So there's a lot of ways. Again, it's not all doom and gloom out there, guys. These banks and lending institutions still have to make money, and they make money by lending money. It's just you're going to have a much stronger picture. Whether your corporation has a good Paydex score or not, they're still going to want to see somebody behind that. You know, the old days, and again, some of this is even still out on the internet, of, okay, go get yourself a Nevada corporation, incorporate on Friday, Monday morning you'll have $250,000 lines of credit with all these banks and all these retailers. It just doesn't work that way anymore. That's not the reality that we have right now. You can get up to those points, but it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen over a weekend. And again, be cautious of any seminar or any service that says that they'll sell you an off-the-shelf corporation that has a high Paydex number from D&B and you can get all the credit you need. It's just not working like right now. So again, Mark Garcia, crushingthecreditbureaus.com and improvemycreditscoresworkshop.com. We'll see you on the next segment.